Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wist. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Hello, Kevin Matley. Please tell me what the movie you scored, Concrete Cowboy, is about.
Yeah, the film Concrete Cowboy is about a troubled teenager played by Caleb McLaughlin, who goes to live with his estranged father, played by Idris Elba. And he gets immersed into the world of city cowboys and horseback riding in the city of Philadelphia. And it's based on the novel Ghetto Cowboy by Greg Neary.
Okay. And do you like the movie? Tell us about the subtext. Why will people enjoy this one?
I love it. I think it's great. It's a father-son coming of age story. And I think the backdrop is so unique and sort of beautiful, and it's such a kind of an untold part of American history that I think that kind of makes it a part of the beauty of the story. A lot of people don't know about urban horseback riding, and I had to go and look it up after I heard about the script, and so I Googled it, and it's all over the country. There's several cities that have city stables and horses and cowboys.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. Because I've literally just seen one image of this movie, and it's Idris Elba on a horse. and I don't know if it's a period piece. I don't know anything. So that's why I need you to explain it to me. So let's talk about you for a second. How did you get into composing movies?
Yeah, I started composing about 10 years ago, full time. I kind of been writing music since I was a kid, really. And I landed my first gig, and it was, a pretty low paying commercial, but it was like the first time I had done, music to picture. And it sort of like was that light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, I want to do this for a living. And so I kind of climbed the ropes like any other composer. I started getting some ads here and there and building a clientele and just getting some reoccurring clients. And then, I got my first short film, I believe, and then a documentary, and just kind of build it from there.
And how many features have you done?
So I've done 3 feature docs and then Concrete Cowboy.
Oh, so this is your first narrative film?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So Ricky Staub, the director of Concrete Cowboy, he and I did a short that was not a documentary. It was my first narrative short about, I think that was like 2017 or something like that. And so this is my first narrative feature.
How does that feel?
It's amazing. It's so cool. It's a lot of the process is just really similar. So it didn't feel like there was too much of a learning curve, like with file management, schedule, all that stuff was just kind of the same. But it was just such a fun, such a fun story to score. It's not like the kind of film that requires the same music and mood throughout. It's very dynamic. There's a lot of different like types of storytelling throughout it. So I got to write a bunch of different sort of not genres, but like, I wanted to be cohesive and tell the same story, but it was also like, it wasn't just, an ambient bed with slow strings the whole time.
All right. Well, tell me about the director, Ricky Staub. What's he like? And what's like working with him?
It's awesome. He's very collaborative. He's always interested in people's opinions, and he's not a pretentious person at all. Very personable and easy to talk to. So I mean, those two things alone could kind of tell you the sort of character that he has, and working with him and his process is very like, he has a very keen sense of what he's looking for and what like moves him. But he also is just kind of very interested. Like when we work together, he's kind of like, well, what do you think? And so I like that. There's some people that want it just you to do exactly what they want, and that's fine, because they have a very specific vision. And Ricky has like strong vision too, but he's also very like open to other people's ideas, and I think it's great.
That's awesome. So, did you watch this movie a bunch of times before you wrote a single note, or did you just like watch it once, or did you just tell me about that?
Yeah, no, I read the script several times, and then I started getting what they call dailies, which is like when they're shooting the film, they send clips over, and you can kind of look at to get a feel for the aesthetic and everything. There's a scene that I got
Okay.
that was one of the first scenes. So I didn't get in the process after we had locked picture. I got in early on when it was being edited. So as they were putting the film together, I was putting the music together, and we would go back and forth as they would fine tune the edits and the scenes. I would fine tune the music accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So you were basically there day one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me about, this is sort of a loose question, and bring to it what you will in your answer, whatever you want. What is the vibe you wanted to create with the music of this movie?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Huh.
Well, I've worked with Ricky long enough to know that like his style of filmmaking is just kind of visceral and almost surreal sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's also very gritty, and there's just like a texture to his aesthetic in the films that he makes. And so for me, it was like apparent right out of the gate, I wanted to find music, like I wanted to create a score that matched that had this like ambient, dreamy soundscape with these sort of raw human performances on top of it to that felt like a gritty, which is a tough thing to do. Like, I had a fantastic score mixer come in and try to amalgamate those two ideas, because they're kind of opposing, and to make that sound fluid and cohesive together was a little bit tricky. But that was my vision. Was, I think that if we can make something that's like lush and then also has this sense of like humanity on top of it, was the main dream I had for it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the philosophy behind this sound.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So have you met anyone in the cast of this movie?
I haven't. And it's a bummer because of COVID, because normally there's like a premiere and you get to go out and like meet the cast and so I haven't met much of anybody. I got to meet, it's funny, I've been working with Ricky for about 10 years we've done a bunch of ads and stuff before films. And I didn't get to meet him until this film.
That's
so
hilarious.
We had a screening out in New York, and he's like, bro, like we've been working together for so long. You've been working super hard on this film. Let me just fly you out, and we'll go to the screening together and like meet and everything. Yeah. It was awesome. I finally got to meet him and Dan Walser, the producer and co-writer of Concrete Cowboy, and the editor and a handful of producers. So it was great.
Yeah. So this movie played at TIFF, correct?
It did. Yeah. Premiered at TIFF.
Oh, geez Louise. That would have been fun to walk around the streets of Toronto with it, huh?
Yeah, it absolutely would have. And it's sad that we didn't get to, but
what can you do? Yeah. So many filmmakers are in that position. It sucks. Okay. Yeah. What is your favorite Idris Elba role besides Concrete Cowboy?
I just watched Beasts of No Nation for the first time. Okay. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that, no.
It's an absolute must watch. It's so good on so many fronts, like filmmaking, acting, storytelling, and just I haven't looked too much into the history of the story, but it's like the score, everything about it is just amazing. And I didn't even know Idris was in it until I watched it. I was actually just watching it as a reference for another film, and I was like, oh, cool, this Idris. And his acting is so incredible. He's got a really cool African accent, and it's awesome.
Also, going through the credits, I was really excited to see that Method Man is in this movie.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, awesome. Right?
Yeah. It doesn't, I mean, when Ricky started telling me about the cast that was like getting on board, I was like, it just kept getting better and better. And I was like, because I think one of the first people he told me about was Jarrell Jerome. And I was like, oh, the guy from Moonlight, like his performance in that is incredible.
Oh, cool.
And his performance in Concrete Cowboy is amazing. I was so impressed. And then he told me about Idris Elba and then Caleb McLaughlin and then Method Man. I was like, this can't be real.
Are you a fan of like 90s boom bap? Do you like that stuff?
The what?
Like 90s hip hop?
I'm more of a 90s R&B guy, but I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I said boom bap because, hip hop is like, there's trap, like Travis Scott or whatever.
Yeah.
And then boom bap that like, Busta Rhymes or Method Man, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not your thing, really.
It's not.
Okay, fair enough. But you like Method Man.
Oh yeah, who doesn't?
He's very entertaining. He seems to be a likable guy, and I can't wait to see his scenes in this movie. Who are some of your all-time favorite film composers?
Oh man, there's so many for so many reasons.
Yeah.
I love, and it's always sad to talk about this, but I love pretty much everything that Jóhann Jóhannsson put out. So that was really tragic to me when he passed away, because composers, it's almost like we reach our prime in our 60s and 70s. It seems like, because all of the top Hollywood guys are just kind of older.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just want to hear the stuff that he was going to write, more than anything. So he's a big hero of mine. I love Dario Marinelli. I love.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
He did the score for V for Vendetta.
Oh, cool.
He also did one of my favorite scores, which was for Jane Eyre. If you ever get a chance to listen to it, it is on its own and with the film, just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, cool.
And then Johnny Greenwood, I'm a huge fan of him.
So good.
Contemporary classical approach that he takes with like Phantom Thread and There Will Be Blood. I think his approach and his philosophy to music is just really, really, really brilliant. Super smart guy.
Yeah. What about do you like Ennio Morricone, Bernard Herrmann, John Williams?
Yeah.
There's so many, right?
So I call those the three greats, and it's kind of like, they're arguably the best film composers of all time. Mm-hmm. And I love their themes and how you can basically you can always whistle a John Williams theme. There's he has so many great pieces. But I also really like, their sort of intellectual approach to storytelling through music. And even back then when Ennio Morricone put an electric guitar in a Western, it was who did that? That didn't make any sense. And but it's so cool. It's badass when you hear it. You're like, yeah, dude, come on. So I think that their whole sort of not only brilliant theme writing, but their arrangement, sort of what I would call fearless arrangement, where you can just it doesn't matter what genre it is or what instrument it is, if it is compelling and hits hard or whatever it's supposed to do, they do it really well.
Cool. And also I wanted to mention one more film composer because I know him and I stayed with him at his house in Santa Monica for a week. The great Christopher Youn. Let's give him some love.
Oh yeah.
Do you like Hellraiser? Have you heard that score?
I have not. And I say, oh yeah, and I just realized I don't think I've actually listened to anything of his.
Oh, damn it. Well, it's fair. It's polite of you. But he's
oh yeah, you tell me about it.
Okay, let's go in for a minute. So he did Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and Hellraiser, and then he really blew up and he did so many movies like Spider-Man 3, Tales from the Hood, Drag Me to Hell. Recently he did Pet Sematary, Swordfish. So many great, sometimes glossy, but or Species, just so many movies. I don't know if his sound is signature, like you said, an electric guitar in a Western necessarily, but the guy could deliver a score. When I was staying with him in 2019, he was composing Pet Sematary. And the man did not sleep. The notes were in his head. He was rearranging it while he was asleep. He was making weird sounds in the middle of the night. It's unbelievable.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Like what you're saying about when you get a little bit older, in your 60s. I don't know how it works, but that is a wonderful mind right there.
Yeah, you work 24/7 even when you're asleep, right?
Yeah. Do you sleep when you're working on a film?
So in the last days of Concrete Cowboy, I moved out to my studio.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
My wife was sick and my daughter, and I couldn't get sick. So I had to move out to my studio. I think I would go to sleep around 2 or 3 a.m. and then I wake up around 7
Oh my god.
And that was out of necessity. Like I had too much to do in the final days of it.
Yeah.
But that's the closest I've been to no sleep, and that was for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
What was your mind like?
it was mush, man.
I bet.
At one point, I actually went in and I sat down on my bed with my wife and I just started sobbing. I was like, I'm so burnt out.
Well, I can't wait to see this movie. It's coming out on April 2nd on Netflix. Congratulations. Thank you for your time, Kevin. Is there anything else you would like to say about Concrete Cowboy before I let you go?
I would say that aside from all the blood, sweat, and tears I put into it, it's a really great film. I think that, like I said earlier, it touches on a piece of American history that a lot of people don't know about. That's really cool, but not just exposes it. There's a lot of gentrification that's happening. That's kind of moving in on these people's stables and lives and properties, and there's some GoFundMe's and fundraising platforms out there that are raising money to help change this. And one of them is called the Philadelphia Urban Writing Academy. And the money raised will be used to buy land in the city and build a permanent stable for the Black Cowboys of Philadelphia. And so I would say, don't just watch it, but also consider the social and environmental impacts that are happening as a result of this film too.